What's up, guys? Welcome back. So I'm super excited for today's video. We're hooked up to the Tundra. We're about to head to the local lake to test out a brand new product. It's actually a prototype. It's not even up for production yet. It's the next generation of the Live Scanner. Now, if you're not familiar with the Live Scanner, I have the old one right here in my hands. It is hands down, in my opinion, the best mounting option on the market for our active target and or Garmin Live Scope if that's what you're running. So I was contacted by Ron from Live Scanner, and he asked me, he wanted to send this prototype to me. He wants me to get it on the water, test it out, beat it up, put it through the ringer, and report back to him with what I think, what I find, and all that good stuff. So couldn't be happier to do it for him. I absolutely love the original, but they've made some changes to this next generation, all for the better, and I'm gonna go over what they are with you. I am super excited. As much as I love the original, this next gen is definitely an upgrade, and it's going to make my fishing even better than it already has. So let me get up in the boat. I'll show you real quick what they did change off the water, and then we'll hit the lake, and I'll give you guys you know, a little bit of a preview as to what this thing can do, because again, it'll change the way you fish if you run Active Target or Garmin Live Scope. So let's get up in the boat. Before I show you the foot pedals themselves and what they made changes on there, I did want to mention they've made it much easier to install the next generation. The original was not hard to install by any means. Again, we have a video on the channel showing that install step by step. But one of the disadvantages of, not only did you have a couple different connections you had to make, you can see we have the wiring harness coming off of the foot pedal with a couple different connections on it. You had the wiring coming from the head of the Live Scanner itself that you had to plug in here. And then the biggest disadvantage that people did not like, from what I saw and just talking with individuals about this thing, you had to mount this. It's a decent sized black box. I mean, it's not huge by any means, but with all these other things we have to get mounted in our boat, you know, it was just kind of a little inconvenient to have to mount this size of a box somewhere for the original Live Scanner. I didn't have any issues with it. I had a good location for it. It was out of the way. I do show that in my last video on this thing, but a lot of people didn't like that. So Live Scanner listened, and now there's less connections you have to make, and instead of this big black box, actually there's two boxes here. I don't know if you can see it, but this smaller box here, they're actually two separate pieces. All I did was take double backing tape, put it on this smaller box, and stuck it to the bigger box. So there's actually two boxes you have to mount with the original version. So Live Scanner listened to the, not complaints, but they listened to people, and they changed it to where now you only have one smaller box. I already have it in the boat, or I would show it to you. Maybe I'll take a picture and post it on the screen there. But it's about the size of the smaller of the two here, so it's much easier to mount, much easier to pick a location on where to put it. And you know, again, it's less connecting and all that good stuff. So the install on this thing is super easy to do. I got to be honest. I mean, I really feel that anybody with any kind of experience installing their own gear, you'll be able to do this very, very simply. I'm not going to go over the install in depth. If you want to see that, check out that other video. It's basically the same, other than this new version is easier because there's less connections. And again, instead of this big box, you now only have the one small box that you have to mount. Let's look at the foot pedals real quick. So what you're looking at is the new version versus the old version. One of the features on the Live Scanner, and why I hands down say that this is the best mounting option out there, is the variable speed. I'm going to cover this on the water, and I'm going to show you exactly why and how that variable speed is so important, and it can help you be so much more efficient and put more fish in the boat at the end of the day. But with that variable speed, you have to have a way to change it, of course. The old foot pedal, you have this dial right here. I don't know if you can hear that clicking on and off, but you turn it on, and then you would just dial to the speed you want to go, and you're set. You can turn this thing way down, as you're going to see when we get to the lake, to where it's barely moving, and then you can crank it up to where it's really going. It's almost on the highest setting. I very rarely even use that, just because it's super quick. So, but with this knob here, unfortunately on the original version, there's no markings. So you kind of had to, you know, if you have a favorite speed setting or two, you're kind of guesstimating where that dial should be. I was going to take a Sharpie and put some marks on here. I just never got around to doing it. But Ron from Live Scanner listened, and he addressed it. So now on the new foot pedal, you have this LED bar up here, where hopefully you can see it. Let me get the camera a little bit closer here. So if you watch these bars right here, instead of having to kind of guess when you turn this on, hopefully you can see it, you have LED bars lighting up here, okay? To me, that's huge because as you're gonna see on the water, I do have favorite settings for when I'm in anchor mode versus other ways of fishing, whether I'm covering a contour line or going down a bank or whatever the case may be. So this is pretty big for me. It's a small feature, but it's handy to have to know, you know, when I'm in anchor mode, I'm probably going to be using it, you know, 1, 2, or 3 bars lit up. I'll have to test it out when we get to the lake. When I'm going down a bank or something like that, I'll have it turned up to 6, 7, 8 bars. Very cool little feature that they added to the foot pedal that I wished the original had. So Ron addressed it, put it on the new version, and that's going to come in handy for sure. I like the look of the new foot pedal better too. It just looks a little more modern. This thing just kind of looks boxy and a little bit clunky, but I definitely like the new foot pedal better. The touchiness of it is very, very good. It's not super stiff, but also it's not too light to where if you bump it, it's going to move it. The tension is really set nice on it. So that's the foot pedal. That's what they changed on there. Let's head to the lake and I'll give you a look at this variable speed and why it's so important. All right, guys, here we are on the water. Let me talk about that variable speed real quick before I show you the brand new feature for the next gen live scanner. So that variable speed, if you didn't see my last video, where that comes into play big time for me, it has made me so much more efficient on the water. Let's say I'm anchored with the Lowrance Ghost, I'm offshore or whatever the case may be, I'm in anchor mode, and that Lowrance Ghost is going back and forth, you know, doing what it has to do to keep me pinned in the spot that I'm in. Having my active target on the live scanner independent from the Ghost, let's say if I had it on the Ghost, whenever that Ghost is moving to keep me anchored where I need to be, guess what? My active target transducer would have been moving as well. I would not have been able to lock in on a school or a cover or whatever I was fishing. Having it on the live scanner, the variable speed, what I do is I'll slow the speed down when I'm in anchor mode, and that really allows me to fine tune the angle and where that active target transducer is pointing. That's huge because as the Ghost is doing its thing and the boat's, you know, being anchored where I need it to be, I can independently control that active target transducer with the live scanner. And again, the variable speed is huge because it's not just one speed. I can slow it way down. It allows me to turn that transducer nice and slow, get it pointing exactly where I want it to be pointing. Now, I'll give you a quick example of how slow or how fast you can turn it. I did that in the last video as well, but just in case you didn't see it. On the flip side, where I use the faster speeds is, let's say I'm going down a bank or a contour line. What I like to do is I turn that speed up a little bit and I'll just scan left and right with either the remote or the foot pedal as I'm fishing, or sometimes I'm not even fishing. I'm just going down the bank or the contour line, you know, and just scanning left and right until I see something I want to fish. So it just allows you to cover much more water more efficiently, being able to turn that speed up, because this thing moves. I mean, when you turn it on high, if you didn't see my last video, this thing really goes. I got to be honest, I never even use it on the highest speed. It's almost too quick, but it just gives you that, you know, that adjustability to slow it way down to where it's barely moving, and then all the way up to where it is cooking. So allows you to be much more efficient, cover a lot more water, and just it really maximizes your time while you're on the water. Now, the new feature that they've added, and this, in my opinion, is going to be awesome because I do like to scan back and forth as I'm going down a contour line or a bank. What they've added is, instead of manually having to scan back and forth, you can press either both left and right pedals at the same time, or let me show you the remote real quick. Right here, if you press A and B at the same time, what that does is it automatically scans back and forth for you. So you just press that A and B together, you're done. You can pick up your rod, you can fish, you don't have to touch the remote, you don't have to touch the foot pedal. And the best thing about that is, again, it's adjustable speed. So whatever speed you have your foot pedal on, like right now I have it on the 2 lights. If I put it in auto sweep mode, is what I believe they're gonna call it. If I put it in auto sweep mode with 2 bars, it's gonna scan back and forth nice and slow. I don't have to do a thing. I could pick up my rod, fish, watch my screen until I see something I like. And then again, if I want to turn it up faster, just turn it up, hit that A and B, and it'll auto sweep back and forth faster. So That is going to be huge for me, and I'm sure for a lot of other people. I am super excited about that feature. I no longer have to have the remote in one hand or, you know, trying to push the foot pedal back and forth when I want to scan. That's awesome. That is an awesome, awesome feature. So let me just show you a quick example of how it works, and then we'll wrap the video up. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. Here's a perfect example of the slow speed while you're anchored and why it's such a huge advantage. As you can see, we're in anchor mode with the Ghost. We're offshore in about 20 to 25 foot of water, and I found a couple bait balls and some bigger fish roaming around underneath them on the Active Target. So we anchored it, and as you can see, we have the live scanner in very slow. It's just that one bar lit up, and watch what you can do here. So you can faintly see the one bait ball out at about 60 foot. It's kind of going out of frame, but here's the advantage. If you watch that live scanner, the yellow arrow up there, watch how slow you can turn this thing and really kind of fine tune. Let me see if I can get you a little bit closer. Hopefully you can see that. I mean, it's barely moving. So when you're anchored offshore, and actually let me bring it back here because you can see one of the bigger fish down here. I think I went a little too far, but again, this is the huge advantage of having it in this slow mode. I can go back to the left, and there it is. Bang. I can fine tune it, line it up, make the cast to that fish, and having it on that slow speed is awesome. Being able to really fine tune that angle and where that's pointing. Now, that faster speed, again, as I mentioned, if I was going down a bank, that's where I'd be using that. All right, let me show you the new feature. I apologize about the noise. There's so much boat traffic out here today. We're getting knocked around. Jet skis, pleasure boaters. Gotta love the summertime, but I'm gonna let that pass real quick. All right, and of course those jet skis had to come within about 20 foot of me. Gotta love it. Anyway, moving along. Let me show you that new feature. So it's called the auto sweep, and if you take your remote, you can do it on the foot pedal as well. But if I just press whatever speed you actually, let me turn this up real quick. Let's put it on maybe 4 or 5 bars just so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about here. All right, so we have it at about 4 or 5 bars. Press A and B together and watch what the live scanner does. I'm gonna press A and B, and then I'm hands off. I could pick up my rod, start fishing, don't have to touch anything else. So here we go. Press A and B, and look at that live scanner. It's just gonna sweep back and forth, full range, left and right. That is huge for me in the way I fish. I'm gonna use that feature all the time when I'm going down a contour line or a bank. To stop it, just press on the foot pedal or hit a button, and again, then you can adjust the speed, go back into it, whatever you want to do. But that is an awesome feature. As far as I know, no other mount on the market. I know the live scanner is the only one with variable speed at this point as of today, but I don't know of any other mounts have that option either. Again, I think they're going to call it the auto sweep, but that is an awesome feature. I'm going to use that constantly. So much more efficient, saves a lot of time on the water, covering water, and it's obviously going to help you put a lot more fish in the boat. You know, just saving time and being that much more efficient. Look at that bait ball on the screen there. I'm hoping one of those bigger, let me actually scan around real quick, see if I can find one of those bigger fish that were roaming around underneath it. Just to kind of show, oh, I think we just passed one. Actually, let me turn this back down. So turn that live scanner back down. And there it is right there. You can see it underneath the bait ball. Right there. It's one of the bigger fish that was roaming around there. So again, that's the advantage of being able to turn this thing, you know, make it slower, make it quicker. It's just awesome. So live scanner, by the time you guys see this, you know, this thing will be on the market. Again, it's September. They're not releasing it till October, but they asked me to make this video and kind of put this thing through the ringer. I'm super impressed. I loved my original, but the advantages of this new version and the upgrades that Ron made with this thing, it is just awesome. You guys got to check it out if you have the Active Target or even the Garmin the Live Scope. It is huge, and just a huge advantage over anything else on the market. All right, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know, and we'll get them addressed for you, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.